Robberies, big and small, are going to be a big part of Grand Theft Auto 6. We've seen that in the first official trailer that Rockstar gave us. Pretty much half of it is Jason and Lucia escaping from one single robbery they've done. I know some of the scenes are separated by a little bit of the social media stuff, but essentially anytime you see Jason and Lucia in the car, it really stems from the robbery they did at Uncle Jack's Liquor. There's multiple scenes where they show that, their escape, them chilling in the hotel room, Jason saying his one iconic word, trust. So robberies are going to be a big part of the story, and I do so wish I could show you the leaked GTA 6 footage. I obviously, of course, cannot, but one of the most iconic clips that came from that, and I think, honestly, the longest one, was the Hank's Waffles diner robbery. We saw so much from that, how robberies are going to work, how it's changed from GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. And one of the topics of conversations was about how NPCs or pedestrians would interact in these kind of robberies. And so we heard from Rockstar Games insider Tez Funds 2, who responded to someone that said this: for this to actually work, it would be necessary to randomize the hero NPCs. Otherwise, when repeating the missions, we would already know which NPCs will react to the assault, and then it would be quite easy to neutralize him before the reaction. The surprise effect is something that should be present, not just in one mission or event, but in several missions throughout the story. Some time ago, I debated this with randomized accidents, something I really want to have in the game world. Knowing that the event will be different from another player will be incredible. And insider Tez Funds 2 responded saying this: that's already how it works in GTA 5. The game picks up a random NPC nearby and assigns them as a hero. There are no exact models for hero NPCs. Even the ones we see in the diner clip are simply regular NPCs that become part of the crowd control logic. Even outside of the robbery, seeing the level of interaction we can have with those NPCs, we may hold up NPCs on the street and not see them flee the moment you aim at them. So essentially what he's talking about right here is if robberies are going to be a big part of this story, Rockstar needs to have the NPCs perform in different randomized ways every single time. Because if you think about it, you could go back to the same convenience store, and if you knew there was going to be a guy in the back in the freezer that had a shotgun on him, I know that sounds so random, that as soon as you started robbing the store would come out blasting, you would know, okay, I got to prepare for the freezer shotgun guy. But if that was just one out of, let's say, 100 different scenarios that could occur, you would have no idea what would happen the second you tried to rob that store. The cops could be in the back sort of waiting on you. You could have the freezer shotgun guy. You could have nothing happen at all. And it's good to know that Rockstar sort of already established that principle in GTA 5 and will certainly build upon it in Grand Theft Auto 6. We saw the crowd control logic part in the leaked video clips. And honestly, I feel like there's going to be so many different factors when conducting these robberies, things like CCTV cameras that might be able to spot everything you're doing, witnesses that might escape and be able to not only call the cops on you, but if there are no longer any witnesses or hostages, the cops would have no incentive not to just bust down the door and come shooting at you. So there's lots of different factors here that I do feel like are going to make this really, really cool. And even insider Tez Funds 2 mentioned it, that I hope this is the same way outside of the robberies, the interactions that we can have with them. Right now in GTA 5, if you aim a gun at someone, they're just going to basically run away. There needs to be a lot of different things that can happen based on the actions you do. Now, there was more follow-up to this, as someone ended up saying if there's multiple ways the robberies can go, like maybe one of the customers tries to play hero and pull out his gun when you're not looking, or maybe there's some cops grabbing a coffee inside the actual diner when you go to rob it, the replayability of the open world scores would be extremely exciting. And insider Tez Funds 2 said this: you can see in the diner clip the voice lines of some hostages playing heroes, but mostly to escape. So the hero logic is there. It remains to be seen whether one of them would fight back and restrain you, thus ending up in a melee fight. Also, one scenario that may play out is if all the hostages escape, you lose the advantage over the cops, who can then start blasting. But it would be more interesting when you're robbing a shop alone if one of the customers aims a gun at you. Then you can actually interact with him/her, either complying or surrendering or choosing to shoot him or her. The surrender option we see in the clip should account for more than just cops. All this adds up to the replayability of those scores. So it would be interesting to see some of the hostages playing heroes, just like not only you see in real life, but in TVs and films. You kind of see that all the time, where a lot of them escape, but one tries to be the superhero. So it will be interesting to see if that is applied here in GTA 6 and they would fight back and restrain you, end up in a melee fight, giving the cops to come in, and then they can just start blasting you, kind of like what I mentioned earlier. If there's no hostages or no innocent people, the cops would have no reason not to just come in and start shooting you left and right. And then it would be interesting to see Rockstar implement the surrender option for more than just the cops. Like, what if you would surrender to a shopkeeper that's got backup and you've got 3 guns aimed at you and they turn you into the police? There is a lot of replayability here, and I hope they implement the busted feature returning from GTA 5. That would just be a really, really cool experience to add a lot of variety and replayability to these robberies and these scores. And in case you guys have access to the leaked GTA 6 footage, I'm not allowed to link to it, but if you do have the ability to view it, the clip is America's 2021 07-12 and then 12-19-51. It's a 3-minute and 8-second long video of the Hank's Waffles Dinery robbery, and it just gives us an absolute ton of details about how the game is going to work for the scores and the robberies, and eventually probably even some of the bigger ones like heists and whatnot. Now, really where I want to end off is just a little bit of speculation. It also makes you wonder, though, if Rockstar will sort of tone down sort of the robbery part of it, at least maybe like the big heist part, because that was the entire theme of GTA 5. You had these crazy trifecta of characters, Michael, Trevor, and Franklin, having to pull off these heists because they needed a ton of money. That might not necessarily be the story for Jason and Lucia, just like it wasn't necessarily the story for Nico Bellic in Grand Theft Auto 4. It really was never about the money. It was about revenge and finding himself in America. So the story might determine how crazy Rockstar gets with the robberies and the scores, but regardless of what the story is like, it's very likely that it's going to be packed with a handful of brand new features, and maybe the witnesses, the hero NPCs, all of that is going to play a big factor in how this entire thing works. But as always, I would love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How do you think robberies and heists are going to work, and gas station scores, convenience store holdups? How do you think it's all going to work in GTA 6 based on what we've seen so far and based on what you think Rockstar is going to do? Let me know what you think in those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the GTA 6 videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.